Treat its people like family. Watch over them and use this money to safeguard them from forces beyond their control. My deepest regret is I will not see you grow into the good man I know you will become. And finally, my son, I ask that you never abandon this city to fate. We have lived through dark days, and no doubt there are more to come. But it is the good and great men who stand up for Gotham when others turn and run. In death, I will love you forever. Your father, Thomas.
The Cape Crusader has returned. Rocksteady, 4 years since their latest installment to the Arkham series, are ready to bring the Bat back for an action-packed tale. Though a lot has changed in the last 4 years, and whilst Arkham City was incredible, can Batman Arkham Knight live up to the hype? This is Nathan and Craig for a C&NOnline review. Continuing the brilliant storytelling of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, Batman Arkham Knight is set just a year later from its predecessor. Since the events that conspired in Arkham City, Gotham has had a time of peace, with crime being at an all-time low. Though, as we all know, peace doesn't last forever, especially in Gotham City. The peace is suddenly disrupted by the Scarecrow, who has caused a city-wide evacuation by launching an attack on Gotham. Whilst many plans have been plotted to take down the Dark Knight, Scarecrow believes that by uniting the Bat's greatest enemies, he'll be able to finally do the deed. Though the Scarecrow isn't only joined by the famous foes of the Cape Crusader, an original character, the Arkham Knight, is here to help. Who is the Arkham Knight? The night is young, and the mystery for Batman begins. Arkham Knight's story is brilliantly told, seamlessly flowing from gameplay to cutscene to tell the tale. For the first time in the Arkham series, the city truly feels alive. Not only is the main plot constantly taking its twists and turns, the side quests have stepped up just a notch. Whilst all the stories intertwine, the side quests tell further stories taking place within Gotham. At all times, the main story will be available to go to, though it's highly recommended to complete the side quest to ensure significant upgrades have been bought. Side quests vary from taking out malicious APCs and detonating bombs, all the way to stopping foes committing crimes in Gotham. Completing side quests unlocks further developments in the overall game's plot, as well as giving you upgrade points to help follow the main quest further.
You only had to ask. What's wrong?
Go! We've got the target, sir. He's cornered. Don't move! Are you sure?
So being 2 years since we last saw the Cape Crusader on our screens, and 4 years since Rocksteady worked on the series, the big question is, what's next? The combat was brilliant, navigation was awesome, and the plot was excellent. There wasn't much else we could have thought Rocksteady would do. Then it all made sense. Why not bring the Bat's famous vehicles into play? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Arkham Knight introduces the Batmobile onto our screens. Getting around Gotham is now a breeze, as simply hitting the L1 button on the PS4 allows you to call the Batmobile to your very location. On top of a building, call it below you and dive into it. Other side of the city, it'll find its way right to you. Not only is it easy to get into, it's easy to get out of. You can double tap the X button to be ejected from the Batmobile and glide through the streets. Though driving isn't its only function. Battle Mode is the advanced form of the Cape Crusader's vehicle. Holding L2 transforms the Batmobile into a fully kitted weapon, allowing you to take out malicious vehicles and turrets. With a primary turret and a secondary missile, you have enough power to fight your way out of most situations. If you are able to take out enough enemies, you are able to send out a strong locking missile which instantly destroys its target. This can be accessed by hitting square up to 4 times, depending on how far your gauge is filled up. And filling up your gauge is as simple as taking out enemies, weapons and vehicles. In battle mode, the Batmobile will be easy to navigate around tight paths such as buildings if the need arises.
The Batmobile is incredibly fun to play, and every feature mentioned is fully upgradable, as well as other features which come into play later in the game that we haven't mentioned. though we will warn you that it does take some time to get used to the Batmobile. At first it can seem awkward to drive and seem hard to switch seamlessly between battle mode and driving. Fret not though, the Batmobile will be second nature to you very early on in the game, and you'll start to find many excellent uses for it during the missions and free roam. Navigation isn't only carried out in the Batmobile though. Oh no, you're able to explore Gotham City just as in the previous entries to the series. This time around though, navigating feels a lot more fluent. The grapple hook instantly has its speed boost mechanic, allowing you to gain further height straight from the get-go. With upgrades you're able to improve this even further, throwing the Cape Crusader higher into the sky than ever before. Holding X allows you to glide, and holding R2 allows you to dive bomb straight down to the floor. Timing these together allows you to gain further height and speed, allowing you to reach further distances. What would a hero game be without getting to the crime fighting? Well, don't fret, Arkham Knight has the awesome combat we know and love from the previous entries. Outstandingly, Rocksteady have been able to further improve the combat to be even more fluent than ever before. Attacking enemies is pretty simple. Hit square. You're able to evade attacks with triangle and can use circle to stun your target. Environment attacks performed by hitting square and X whilst next to different objects, such as a light, allow Batman to take out the enemy using that specific item. Fights feel fluent and, unless you somehow muck up the mix of attacking and evading, never feel dull or out of place. Though normal face-to-face combat isn't the only style you'll be using. Taking out enemies without leaving a trace, using Predator mode, is a staple part of the Arkham series. Once again, this feels far more fluent than before. More objects are able to be used to your advantage, though you aren't the only one with an upper hand. Enemies can now bring sentry guns to keep watch of areas whilst they were once quiet. This adds further challenge to taking out your enemies quietly and creates for a more deep experience. The new Fear Stealth Takedown is a brilliant feature, allowing you to sneak up on enemies and quickly attack several at a time without ever leaving a trace. The fluent and uninterrupted combat is what makes the player feel like they are truly the Batman, and Rocksteady have captured that feeling flawlessly. This time though, Batman is not alone in combat. That's right guys, Batman has some of his buddies along for the journey this time round. Whilst we won't spoil all of the characters you'll see, Nightwing and Catwoman help you out from time to time. Simply hitting L1 whilst they're fighting alongside you, they'll actually be able to play as them. With some enemies only being able to be taken out by Batman and others by his partner, it adds for a more thought out fight instead of diving in and hitting the attack button. Takedowns turn into a seamless way of switching characters. While playing as Batman, let's say, hitting L1 to take down the goon we're in front of will perform a jaw takedown. During this takedown, both characters will attack the enemy and you'll end up as the other character at the end of the performance. It doesn't take you out of the gameplay and really keeps you immersed throughout. Playing as other characters is really fun, spicing up the gameplay from what the Cape Crusader offers.
What's the Batman without his gadgets? Batman's arsenal of gadgets returns once again in Arkham Knight. With returning gadgets such as the Batarang, explosive gel, and line launcher, you'd think you'd already be sport for choice, though new additions such as the remote hacking device and Batmobile remote add for new gameplay additions which gives you the upper hand. Whilst not mentioned earlier, the Batmobile remote is one of the most useful during missions. Let's say the enemy has you cornered, you have nowhere to run and think it's the end of the bat. By holding down the down button on the D-pad and selecting the Batmobile remote, you can control the Batmobile with a set radius. Simply pull the Batmobile to your location and simply take out the goons confronting you. Of course, keeping to the Bat code, you'll only knock them out, though that's exactly what you need. Whilst the gadgets do not feel as widely used as in previous entries, they are extremely useful and can spice up the gameplay. One issue was that some of the gadgets don't get any limelight until later on in the game, sticking to just one or two at the beginning. Whilst, in the end, they all get to be used, it would have been nice to have a vary throughout the whole campaign though. Every gadget is introduced well to the player, allowing you to get to grips of how they work before they need to be used in a more complex manner later on in the game. The detective mode is also present in Arkham Knight, allowing the Bat to scan crime scenes for evidence and create a virtual recreation. Simply hitting up on the D-pad pulls this mode up. It's incredible to scan evidence from a crime scene and see the virtual reconstruction be played back in front of you. As it plays back, you are able to pause it and walk around the virtual scene to give you further information you may have not noticed before gathering the evidence. Rocksteady really know how to make you feel like the Bat. Upgrading is up next, and rightfully so. Without them, Batman would be having a much harder time at stopping the Scarecrow's evil plans. Upgrades are split into the following headings: Gadget Tech, Gadget Skills, Batsuit, Batmobile, Batmobile Weapons, and Combat. Let's run through them briefly, shall we?
Gadget Tech is further extensions to the gadgets you already have, such as your smoke pellets lasting longer, or your remote hacking device having an easier time at, well, hacking. Gadget Skills is the feature the gadgets have. The Batarang, for example, could be upgraded here to hit an enemy, and then turn back around and hit the same enemy again before returning to Batman. The Batsuit's upgrades are all focused on defense during combat, allowing you to strengthen yourself up for those big fights. Batmobile allows you to upgrade the speed boost, defense, and ejection skills to name a few. These will make getting around the city more efficient as well as protecting you from those pesky goons. The Batmobile weapons is heading where the combat comes into play. Here you can upgrade your weaponry to have new features such as being able to shoot more than one missile at once or reducing the cooldown of weapons. Finally, combat gives you new takedowns and combos to help you save Gotham. Arkham Knight features AR challenges where you have to perform a set task and gain a reward. The rewards are generally upgrade points, though the amount does vary. AR challenges vary from combat to Batmobile as well as navigation. They are introduced in the narrative to allow you to try out your new skills. For example, when the Batmobile is introduced, you're introduced to AR challenges to test how the Batmobile combat works. It's an excellent way of showing features off and rewarding players for going out of their way to complete challenges which will benefit their crime fighting skills. There are tons of these listed across the game's map, and they are enjoyable to carry out.
Navigating useful features is simple by hitting the PS4 trackpad. Here you can view the map of Gotham City and plot any marker you wish, custom or predetermined. Hitting L1 and R1 allows you to move through the different headings. The next is a list of completed AR challenges, allowing you to easily redo any you've completed previously at will. Next up is the Bat Computer. Here you can view detailed information about every character you've met in the game. You unlock a bio for a character as you meet them, so this is spoiler free and allows players to find out more about the characters they've just met. Finally is the Riddler trophies.
That's right guys, the Riddler has returned. Taking a bigger part in the game's side quest, which we'll leave you to discover, he's also present with their old friends, the Riddler trophies. For those not in the loop, you have to solve a riddle to unlock access to a trophy. If you see them in areas you cannot currently reach, you're able to scan them and add them to your map, allowing you to come back to them at another point. Some are as simple as hitting a switch, others, well, not so simple. They're a welcome addition and are enjoyable to try and collect. Good luck beating the Riddler, because you'll definitely need it, folks.
In death, he has nothing left to fear. Keep him away from Ace Chemicals. Your vengeance will come. This ends tonight.
Friend of yours?
Stay here, and I'll go find out.
We've mentioned that the game's cutscenes carry out seamlessly throughout the gameplay, though we didn't touch on the voice acting. The voice actors for the game play their roles brilliantly, perfectly capturing the Bat and particularly the Scarecrow as we'd imagined. They captivate the player from start to finish, drawing you into the disaster Gotham is facing, encouraging you to want to progress to know more about what's going on. As well as voice acting, the game's soundtrack is outstanding, creating the dark and heroic mood we expect from the Arkham series. Graphically, the game is the best we've seen to date for the Bat. Gotham really does feel alive, and the PS4 and the Xbox One bring every part of Gotham to a much more realistic representation. This is the best we've seen the Batman to date. It's now time to take a look at the positives and negatives. Positives. Perfectly told story, drawing the audience in at every twist and turn. Visually stunning. Excellent voice acting. Batman's alloys during the fight. Brilliantly implemented side quests, further improving the brilliant combat, and the Batmobile. Negatives. Gadgets feel a little underused at the beginning of the game, and the Batmobile's battle mode takes a while to get used to and the hang of.
Suppose you weren't really dressed for the front entrance.
Have you finished the decryption?
Fully decoded. I've downloaded all recent militia radio transmissions and their corresponding coordinates to your machine.
Thanks, Lucius. I can scan the network for the Arkham Knight's voice print and determine the location of his last broadcast.
It's been a long wait since Arkham City to see how the Caped Crusader story would conclude, though we can safely say it's been worth the wait. With very few flaws, such as gadgets feeling a little underused at the start, as well as the Batmobile's battle mode taking a bit of breaking into, Arkham Knight has taken a major improvement on its predecessors. Rocksteady have perfectly captured the feeling of the Batman, and make the player feel as if they are him in a mysterious and action-filled finale to the Arkham series. Improving upon already great mechanics, the game feels more fluent as you switch between stealthily picking out your enemies to full-on brawls. Though Arkham Knight also works in areas where the game was weak, making side quests much more accessible and enjoyable for players. Adding the Bat's allies into the mix and introducing the Batmobile has to be the icing on top of the cake though. Whilst we are sure this won't be the end of the Bat on our consoles, Arkham Knight is an excellent finale to the Arkham series. In fact, excellent isn't the correct word. Batman Arkham Knight is a masterpiece living up to every bit of the hype it produced. Without a doubt, Batman Arkham Knight deserves a full C&N score of 5 out of 5.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear what you guys think of the Batman. This is C&NOnline, signing off.
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.